Hey, what's up you guys? Today's video is about why you should not start Airbnb 2024. You might think, hey, you were one of the proponents of doing the short-term rentals. Isn't this contradictory? No, there are several reasons why you should not do this, or at least think twice before you will go ahead and do that. And I will tell you why. First of all, many people say that Airbnbs became oversaturated, and yes, they did. Are they oversaturated for operators like me? No. Let me explain you why. Because say you got with just one property. If I would be starting myself in 2024 with just one property, I would probably just lose it in a matter of months maybe. Because there are lots of guys like me who have 50, 100, 150 properties, and they can just dump the market. They can just dump the prices, and you would pretty much would not be able to compete with them. Say you have like 50 properties, you make on every property $10 a day. It accrues, and eventually you end up making 15,000. But if you have one property, you make $10 a day, you end up making $300. That's a big difference. $300 would not keep you afloat. Moreover, Airbnb has to compete with companies like Expedia, VRBO, Booking.com, and some other new players in the game. Thus, they try to be even more guest friendly, meaning not friendly towards the hosts. You probably heard about the constant refunds, guest complaints, and Airbnb horror stories. And yes, if you're just booking an Airbnb, it got kind of a bad reputation for itself. Everybody knows that if you'll just call them and complain on something, you'll probably just get a free stay. You'll not end up paying for the property you booked. It wasn't like this before. I was traveling with Airbnb myself a long time, and remember we checked in a property. It was in horrible condition. I mean, starting with bed bugs, ending up with whatever you could just imagine. There were like random holes in the backyard. I guess it was just a kind of crappy property. Someone decided to buy it and then flip it, and then they just kept it and put it on Airbnb. So what I'm trying to say basically is we complained, but we never got a refund. They just told us, hey, if you want to stay, you would have to pay if you want to book someone else. And I was not able to book someone else because it was just a last minute thing. Everything was taken. It wasn't actually in the Thanksgiving time in 2021, I believe. It was in Sacramento. Yeah, we ended up staying. We never got a refund or anything like that. It was not a good experience. It was a fair solution, because if you're staying, you have to pay, dude. Like, there's no other way. Either you're staying or you're paying, or you don't stay and you don't pay. You can just stay and not pay. This is happening and again and again and again. Happened to me a couple times. That's why I'm trying to keep out of Airbnb. The problem with the Airbnb customer service, as opposed to say Amazon, is you get directed to the same other third-party countries, which is fine. But the problem with the Amazon ones is that they have a surcharge that they can make a decision upon. So if you're complaining on a product, you're returning, you're not getting a refund, you give them a call, they do solve your issue immediately. With Airbnb, it doesn't work like that. Say you have a crazy person who damages your property, you give them a call, and the person who answers, he pretty much has no power over making decisions. So they would have to escalate it to their own manager, and I assume they're like one guy who is managing somewhere around 100, maybe up to 1,000 people. So they have to constantly review the cases, and you pretty much depend on a guy. We just had, let's say, like a $35,000 reservation. It was a couple months, and we had been outsourced to the person who had no idea how things work here in the United States. They just canceled the reservation, refunded the person who booked the place, and never asked any question from us. So that was really crazy. That was the craziest experience I ever had. So customer service, it was an issue for Airbnb for a while now. So for last, I believe, 7 to 8 years, people were complaining about customer service. I believe they were just going public. They had issues during COVID and stuff. That issue was never really addressed. They brought a lady, Catalin Powell, I believe. They brought it from Disney, I think. I'm not sure. She was trying to change some stuff. There's a forum where you can go. You can type to her personally. Maybe someone will look at their issue, but overall, there was no structural change with customer service, so it's not the best customer service, unfortunately. Regulations is another thing. Almost every second city passed anti-Airbnb regulation. If you want to rent your property less than 30 days, you would probably have issues with the city, and you would end up getting fines, and it would be disaster. You would have to double and maybe triple check sometimes with zoning laws if you're allowed to do short-term rentals or not. Reason number 4, I would say, is bad guests. And yes, Airbnb tried to vet them, but you still keep getting horrible people. Sometimes people who use some kind of substances, people who are just disrespectful with no reason, criminals might get into properties. So you have to be really careful on that side, because you probably have property, TV and everything else that could be just stolen, damaged and everything. And let me tell you guys, if some damage occurs in a property, eventually any property will get a damage. It's just a matter of time. But if damage occurs in the property, you have to make sure you document everything. So you could file a claim with Airbnb. If it's more than $100, it will take them forever to help you out. Keep that in mind. And reason number 5 why you should not start Airbnb in 2024 is plain financial sense. If you are buying property, say average property in Orange County costs like 800, 900, decent ones above the million, you would probably end up paying somewhere around $6,000 to $7,000 a month for the mortgage. Sometimes I actually have a guy who pays about $10,000 a month for the 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom house. You would just, especially if it's in a zoned area where you cannot do short-term rentals, technically you would not be able to make $10K a month from the 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom property. What I advise instead is to go with multifamilies, but again, for the multifamilies you would probably need more money, more cash. Overall, with current rates, even if you would rent it on Airbnb, if you would operate on your own without hiring a third-party contractless like my company, you would probably end up failing. Let alone the rental arbitrage that everybody's talking about, everybody advertising. Don't do it, guys. Don't start it right now. If you would start it right now, either wait until the better times, if the economy would be back, the rates will be better, or just don't start it right now. Trust me, 90% of the time you would fail. Failing is good, actually. I'm not saying that you should not fail, but if you're putting everything that you have on the line and risking, then it's better to double and sometimes triple check, calculate numbers. Every business decision have to make a financial sense, and nowadays with the market, the current stage, most of the time it would not make a financial sense. Anyways, if you like this video, guys, do not forget to subscribe to my channel, and see you on the next one.